first off, let's get to know you two. What brought you two together?
A grocery store.
In Westwood,
Yeah.
we just met one night. We were going out with friends. We knew the same people.
Mutual friends.
Mutual friends, but we were the only ones in the group who didn't know each other.
We were young. I was 19 and you were like, what, 22? And we were in the grocery store aisle just getting stuff before going out with our friends. And they introduced us because we both made music separately at the time as solo artists. And they were like, Georgie, this is Leo. Leo, this is Georgie. And it was literally like time slowed down, just stopped as soon as our hands went out to meet each other. And that's how we met. We didn't get to really talk that night because I was there with one of my friends, and the guys had gone off. But a couple of weeks later, I was at a nightclub and I was up on the balcony actually talking about Leo with one of my guy friends. I was like, I met this guy and he's so amazing and his hair was crazy. He had Edward Scissorhand hair, literally. And as I was talking about him, he walked through the door of the nightclub. This random place that neither of us had ever been, which we found out later. So then after that, we caught up with each other on, this is gonna date me, but MySpace.
Good old MySpace days.
She hit me up on MySpace.
I sent him a message and I was just like, hey, I saw you at a nightclub. We met a few weeks ago. I didn't realize you were serious when you said you make music. I make music too. And he was like, yeah, I do. Here's my number. Why don't you call me? And I was like, here's my number, why don't you call me? And that was it. We literally got together and we've been together ever since.
So what about your individual musical backgrounds? So, what got each of you started?
So I started back when I was around 14 or so, back in Europe. I grew up in Europe. I was born in Rome. My dad is from Italy. My mom from Central America. I just had all sorts of different cultures and music in my life. So I just kind of grew up hearing it. And at 14, 15, I started writing my own songs, started picking up the guitar, learning how to play keys, produce as well. I was really interested in how to produce music and make it sound like radio songs, So then I just kind of pursued that and then moved to the States at 18, just following my path to create music, and here I am.
Wow, Georgie.
My mom said that I was singing before I could talk. So really I started as a baby. But then my parents both really loved music. My mom was super into Linda Ronstadt and Lionel Richie, and my dad was more Earth, Wind & Fire and jazz. And I just grew up around a lot of music. And then I started, in theater as a kid, and it just never died. It was the one thing in my life that just always excited me. And whenever I hear a really great voice, I can just fall out on the floor and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So once we met, it was over. We started writing immediately, and I just have always loved music.
So what was it like? How did you guys figure out okay, you know what? I do music. Now we're gonna come together and create music together. That sounds like a pickup line right there. Let's make music together.
It was his pickup line. It literally, did I not say that? Oh my God. In the email.
Well, we're making music together.
In the MySpace message, he was like.
And we have a baby.
We did. He was like, let's get together and make music together sometime.
Yeah.
He totally was his line. And I was like, okay.
I like that. I like him.
I don't know. I think it was just really natural for us. I was still very much learning how to songwrite at the time, and he, I think, had been doing it longer than I had, because you were in a competition for it.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
What was the competition?
Oh, it was in New York. We got flown out for a week to do a competition for different agencies and labels and everything, and I did pretty well. Second place.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, and that kind of preempted my move out to LA, so.
From people all over.
Okay.
All over, a lot of people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it a worldwide type of thing?
International, yeah.
International. Whoa. So, okay, so then you guys were starting to write together. So how did you come to find your sound?
We've explored different sounds, and there's so many different artists that we are inspired by. I think in the very beginning, we really were inspired by Coldplay and things like that. And then once the pandemic hit, we're talking years. So once the pandemic hit, both of us are Latin. I'm Mexican American and he's Italian and Honduran. And we had always wanted to incorporate that into our sound, but we just never really knew how. But once the pandemic hit, we had so much time and so much space to figure stuff out. And we went on this long walk and we were like, okay, we're going to revamp everything since the whole world is revamping, and how are we going to bring the Spanish language and culture, our cultures, into our music. And
we also like what's like most true to us, you know, as artists, as growing up, you know, in bilingual families with Hispanic backgrounds and Latin influences and all that, and how we're going to merge that with the pop, you know, and that we love, and just those sounds. And so we just kind of, yeah.
So how do you define two?
1, 2.
1, 2.
1, 2. No, but two also in Spanish and Italian and all these Latin languages means you, which is kind of special to us because we went through something pretty life-changing. And we had a 1-year-old daughter that passed away. And so through that, it just kind of, naming ourselves you was fitting, you know?
When you guys first lost your daughter, I mean, well, how old were you guys?
I was 21, I think. I just
Yeah, I
turned
was around
21.
25.
From there, you know, you had this idea of your life and music, and then what changed? Did it take you in a different direction? Did it make you pull back from music? Did it strengthen your bond with music?
So we had different grieving experiences and relationship with music, actually. For Leo, he dove really deep into music, and it was his way of processing that grief. And for me, I was done. I wanted nothing to do with music anymore because I was just so broken. And we ended up moving up to Northern California for about 3 years. And during that process, he, again, I didn't want to touch it. We had a studio in the house. He would try to get me to come in. I was like, I'm telling you, I don't want to do it. And he ended up writing this song called Smile, and it was for me. And in the bridge, it's like, tell me, will we ever smile again? Are we ever going to love again? And it was really his way of calling me back to life. And that was the first time that I picked music back up again after losing our daughter. So it was 2 or 3 years into that process.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it changed everything. I think it brought more meaning into our music, certainly a depth that wasn't there before because we had experienced something so shattering and profound. We actually wrote a really sweet song for our daughter when she was in the hospital called Wondrous. I won't sing it, but you can find it, and it's really beautiful. And I think that kind of set a tone going forward. It became really important for us to really bring something life-giving for an audience when they listen to music. You know, whereas before that was kind of an afterthought for us, you know?
Yeah, it added some more depth to our music for sure, and to just our mission, I guess. We want to do music that inspires people and makes people move on the dance floor and gives them that, but also music that has depth to it and maybe gives them something, you know?
And you recently had another daughter. How has she inspired you guys?
She inspires a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. It's just I just sit down and just think of her little face smiling at me. And it's just rivers of inspiration and lyrics and melodies. And I just sit at the piano, and then there's a full song right there. And just joyful. They're very joyful songs.
Yeah. Her name is Joya. Means
Yeah.
joy. I think when we're writing, she really inspires me to, again, the life-giving thing. It's how would my daughter feel listening to this? Is this something that I would feel comfortable playing it for her, you know? And also she just fills me with so much joy. And it's similar to the way that our other daughter inspired us as well. There's this depth there, but yeah.
So what's the inspiration right now with Tu? You know, you said that you guys have kind of changed gears a little bit after the pandemic. So what is the direction that you see for you guys?
So right now our sound is pretty much a blend of pop with Latin. So a Latin crossover pop thing, and we're doing bilingual lyrics with a little bit of maybe, on some songs, a little reggaeton vibes. Yeah. So yeah, just anything that kind of, you know, when we create, we just kind of sit down. Sometimes I just kind of get in the zone and I start creating stuff and create a instrumental track or something, then start writing some melodies or lyrics, and then she hears them and she's like, "What's that?" Yeah. And she's like, "Hey, let's do that." You know, I was like, and then they end up becoming 2 songs. Yeah. So that's kind of the style right now, which I think is just natural to us, you know, to have the bilingual influences.
I think my inspiration always going in, I'm always saying I love 80s music. It is the perfect mixture of you feel so relaxed, you're dancing, you're having a good time, you feel so full of life. It's like a reference I always kind of go back to. I'm like, do I feel that way when we're writing? And then obviously we write other things as well, but it's something that I go back to a lot.
So what have been some of your favorite songs that you guys have created together?
I'm super excited about the things that we've been writing now or recently. We just released a song called Locura, which means madness in Spanish. And it was kind of just about, it's a lighthearted reflection on how the state of the world is just, everything feels so swirly,
And just relationships.
Yeah, and relationships.
How relationships can be, you can still smile at the end of the day. When you're in family and you have these like blow-ups and but then all of a sudden
you come
hey,
back together.
Yeah, and then you're like, all right, it's time for dinner. All right, everyone,
Yeah.
And then you just get back at the table and you suss it out and it's fine, and then the next day nothing happened and it's like it's that kind of with that heart in mind, that song. So
There's still like love there, even you still come back to the point of like, hey, you know what, we're still family, we're still friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in the song we even say, but the truth is I miss you, so we're kind of saying like everything's been really crazy and we don't like each other, but really at the end of the day I actually really love you,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm loving what we're writing right now.
So why do you guys think that it's so important to incorporate bilingualism into music nowadays?
We're in such a global sort of era of humanity. And all the time, even in the media, we're constantly looking out to different countries, what's happening all over the world. So I think it's really natural that it's starting to happen in music. I mean, even I'm starting to hear, crossover music with African artists that I'm like, that is so sick. Like, that is so cool. And one of our favorite artists, Camilo, just did a song with an Indian artist, and it's just blowing up all over. And I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's nice that there's a fusion of cultures and music, and it all kind of goes together. I mean, for us, first and foremost, it's kind of really true to us because we grew up that way. So it's kind of bringing out something that's just in us, just naturally, and we're passionate about. So
let's talk about one of your music videos, Te Amo.
Yeah.
So how was it filming that?
it was awesome. We filmed it out in the desert in Glamis.
Yeah.
Really, really nice place. And we had an awesome cinematographer from London. He came out and
Finian
filmed.
Moore.
Finian Moore.
Finian Moore,
Little
shout out to you, bro.
Yeah, amazing experience. We had a small crew and it was just like the day out there on the sand dunes, just having fun. And it was really, really beautiful. I mean, we're super happy the way the music video turned out.
It was like a dream.
What was the inspiration behind it? Because it feels really intimate,
Yeah.
you know? And as a married couple, you're kind of like broadcasting, your marriage, your love for each other. Was it easy to also kind of bring that side out in the music video?
It was actually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just us kind of being creative. We knew there were sand dunes there and it looks nice, but the day of, we kind of said, okay, let's do this, let's do that, let's walk here, let's walk there. And we just kind of get with no plan. And it turned out great.
Your latest song, Espérame, where did you get the inspiration for Espérame?
So Espérame is more like when in a relationship you have these moments where everyone just kind of wants to leave, and instead of leaving separately, and going your own ways and then maybe forever, trying to find this place of what, actually, let's go together. Yeah. Let's just go together. Not letting it just break apart and just finding that nugget of hope or, that seed of hope and just going with it,
So what do you think is the secret sauce to, not only just being married to each other, but also working together? How do you, make that work?
Apologies.
Apologies.
Yeah, apologies. Because,
Yeah.
we're both creative and, we both have we're such a strong visions of what we want. And, bringing those things together is so much fun and so beautiful, but you obviously will run into conflict. I say this to everybody when they're like, what's it like working together when you're married? I'm like, you have to be really good at apologizing.
It's like marriage.
To each other. It's a marriage. And
it's
we're
like marriage.
married.
It's work. It's, you have to balance. It's a compromise, but in a good way though. You always come out better at the end of it. And I think it's nice. And I think we both have things that the other person doesn't, and we can bring that to the table. And then at the end of the day, there's something that's greater than either of us.
How do you maintain the passion? Because I mean, music has been a part of you guys since you were teenagers, really. I mean,
Yeah.
19 in the early 20s. And how do you maintain that passion and love for music as life just continues to hit you hard and take you in different directions?
I have a recording studio in Santa Monica called New Vine Music Studios, and I'm there every day creating music, so I can't get away from it really. But I love it so much, it like doesn't feel like work. And working on our projects, working on projects with other artists and other companies, and did some music for licensing for TV shows and stuff like that as well. So it always kind of keeps the creative music juices flowing kind of thing.
You're definitely the passion driver. I'm more of the like artist that's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And Leo's like, we're doing this. So he is consistently passionate about music.
When did you open your studio? Have you always had it?
I've always had some form of studio. I mean, since I was 14, I kind of started with production. I got my first little mixer, computer programs, and started working on beats and stuff like that. But then just it kind of got bigger, more microphones, different rooms. The gear got better and better. And I just kind of love that part as well. I love the part of creating the music and making it sound like really good to its highest potential. Both the song just in its bare bones, just the lyrics, melody, vocals, the songs that you can just play on a piano and sing. That's a craft, but then also the craft of recording it and how to, produce a whole soundscape behind it.
And you also go by a different name as a producer.
Lovelo. So all caps, Luvlo.
Why would you need another name to kind of set yourself apart from the group and Leo, What made you make that decision?
I also do a lot of collaborations with other artists. I produce other artists, I co-write with other artists, and I also do some music that's kind of not too necessarily, it's just pop music and different genres too for like TV licensing, some TV shows and stuff like that.
Also, you are also your own artist. This man makes so much music. It's not possible for it to fit under one umbrella of like just two. He makes, oh my God, he can do anything. So I think he needs like another category.
It's like, it's like an outlet, It's just an outlet for the music and for different styles and genres of music, whatever's on there, because we have our thing, but we're keeping it kind of consistent.
Yeah.
So when I go in the studio, I just like, all of a sudden I have like a EDM song or like a hip hop song or something. And, I'm finding these things and I'm just creating them as I go. So sometimes there's no plan at all when I sit down. So I just create it and I'm like, okay, now it's sitting on my hard drive. What am I gonna do with it,
Yeah.
So it's for that. So Lovelo. And some movie things too, because the studio, New Vine Music Studio in Santa Monica, people can record there and I will help them with, voiceovers as well and things like that.
Okay. Wow. You've seen it change from, like you mentioned, MySpace, and now we have, music. People are being discovered off of TikTok and Instagram and whatever other app that's out there.
Yeah.
So what has your experience been over time, with music?
It's like a constant learning curve, especially now. Things change so fast. I feel like weekly, So we're definitely always trying to stay ahead or catch up. And, we're on TikTok and Instagram and all of that and T Music Official. But yeah, it's a learning curve for sure.
What are some of the biggest, tips, advice, that you've received as an artist, throughout your journey?
Never give up.
Yeah.
Never, ever, 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 ever give up.
Never give up. And also you're doing it for other people, but you're also doing it for yourself. And you're kind of releasing something into the world that wasn't there before. So it's kind of magical and like just, it's special because I think each one of us carries something and there's other people, maybe on the other side of the world, that needs to hear that from you. And if you don't say it or sing it or make it, they won't hear it.
So what has been your highlight together as far as like, your musical journey? It could be marriage, it could be personal, but what has been like a highlight for you guys?
I mean, our 1-year-old daughters,
Yeah.
I mean, both our daughters are incredible. I think those are the two biggest highlights in just not musically, but they were such inspirations for music too, and from just that from where the music comes from. I would say those two are very inspirational.
Yeah, that was a great answer. I was also thinking about we've traveled quite a bit together for music and for personal reasons. It's been such a highlight for my life, definitely, for sure. For definitely experiences for the books. It's so much fun traveling with Leo because he speaks 5 languages.
Wow.
Five languages, and I just feel amazing when I go out with him because I'm like, I can talk to anybody, So definitely when I'm 90 years old, getting ready to go, that's going to be something I remember is traveling with Leo.
Do you guys have any plans on incorporating any other languages into your music?
Trying to get Italian in there.
Italian. Well, I'm teaching our little one Spanish and Italian, so start with that, and English, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'm also, I want to, before I'm too old, I want to learn Portuguese. So, yeah. My dad was born in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, so he unfortunately passed away in 2005, but it was a thing. I was like, Dad, you got to show me some Portuguese. So he started teaching me a little bit. So I want to make sure
So that'd be language number 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow. Is there anything that I haven't asked that you want to share?
We're going to do a music video for Locura as well, so we're working on that. And then we'll do a music video for Espérame as well, which Locura is already out. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, all the music outlets. So we have a bunch of songs that are kind of like in the pipeline and finishing them up little by little. And in the next few months, we should have more releases. And people can check us out at 2musicofficial.com. If they want to subscribe to our email list, that's probably the best thing, because then they get updates and news on what our next music video is, where to find it, and so forth, And then I think we'll also explore maybe some touring thing, maybe around the summer. We're trying to, just life things with the baby, we're trying to adjusting and balancing. She's 1 year and 2 months old, so yeah, just trying to see where it kind of goes.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining me.